Hello, what's up? What's up? I want to chat today. I want to talk about how life's going and a lot of things I've been learning, observing, and just carrying out in my life every day. I was talking to ChatGPT and it gave me a really great idea of how I like to talk and express my ideas and kind of tie everything in together. That felt really fun and just right for me, and I think it just works in terms of like formatting. I love making videos because I feel like it's just like an open space for me to talk about stuff that I want to talk about. And I was thinking about it earlier where it kind of almost feels like my life is an experiment and I'm kind of like my own guinea pig in my own life, and it feels like whenever I'm going through something or I notice something, I feel like this urge of like sharing my findings and like reporting back what I've learned and what I've thought of, and kind of seeing my life in that way. Where like I feel what I feel, then I figure out what it means to me, then I observe it, and then I'm like, whoa, I want to share it. So kind of like reframing it as sort of like a science report, and the internet being the people that I'm sharing my findings with. And I'm kind of just going to go through like the formatting that ChatGPT helped me out with on how to structure my videos that I think I want to do moving forward. So I think the structure I'm going to do is it's a 5-part thing. And first, I'm going to start with one topic, maybe two. I get too excited sometimes. I want to talk about a lot of things. So the point is, we're going to talk about an observation that I made, something I noticed about myself or my life. Then we're going to talk about the experiment. So what did I do differently? What did I try? What did I shift? And how did I sort of like do something to further the experiment? And then after, number 3 is the experience itself. So what it was like, what it felt like, what happened, what surprised me, and just sort of like what the experience led to and how that felt with me doing it versus like what I've done in the past. Then after that is the findings. So what did I learn? What did I realize? And yeah, what did I uncover? What did I report? What did I learn? And then number 5 is here, where then we debrief, we talk about it. I kind of think out loud and I kind of try to make sense of everything all together and kind of how I want to move forward with the experiment and the observation and all of that. So I think that feels very fun to me and exciting. And I have a lot of things that I did want to talk about to start that off, because I don't want to also like put too much all in one video. I kind of want everything to kind of be very coherent and it to make sense. So I'm working on condensing my thoughts and kind of splitting things up into like digestible pieces so I don't go off too much on a tangent of just all sorts of things. So yeah, I wrote some notes, and then this is the first time we're trying this in this sort of new structured way instead of me just yapping. So I wrote out a few ideas that I'll kind of share, and then I think I'll pick one, and then we could sort of do that and see what we want to start talking about. So I just made some notes of recently what my life has been like. Life's been treating me really well. Everything's been really nice, and I've been feeling really good overall. A lot of new feelings, a lot of new things I've noticed, a lot of newness in a nice way that I'm trying to make sense of and get used to. So what I've been focusing on, a big theme up until today, has been focusing on not forcing things and allowing my life to unfold naturally without me controlling so much. I've noticed about myself that I'm naturally very proactive. I'm naturally very action oriented. I'm very like solutions minded. So I'm very much like, what's this? Okay, what can I do? Or like, how can I make an impact to make something move along? What can I do? What can I do? What can I do? So I'm always looking for what can I do to make things kind of move along. And that just comes really easy for me. Like I'm just naturally very much like that. So I've been trying to get used to allowing life experiences and people to kind of meet me halfway and also do, and me not carrying all of the action, because I've noticed that I go through like these periods of high energy, high intensity, and then I crash and I feel flat and muted, emotionally exhausted, and just drained and very sleepy for a few weeks. And it's just been like that for a long time, and I haven't really noticed it. Like now, I think this is probably the first time I really fully understood what it was, because now I'm in a few weeks, I've been feeling very like flat, not in a bad way, but very muted, very like, I don't really feel very excited or like sad. I just feel kind of normal and like, I don't want to say uninspired, but I just feel very like flatlined, and it feels weird, but like not weird in a bad way and not weird in a good way. It just feels like I'm just tired, and I've been tired all week. And I'm like, I'm so sleepy, I'm emotionally exhausted. And I was asking myself, like, why do I feel that way? And I feel like I've just been so present and on, and I feel like I've been so action and proactive oriented that I feel like I sort of depleted my energy. And then usually after this phase, then I go back to like having a lot of energy, and then I have these moments where I have so much energy and I don't know what to do with it, and it almost feels like I have zoomies, and I'm like, I have to release all this energy. So my life is always kind of like, all this energy, how do I release it? And then I have no energy, I need to sleep for 2 weeks. So I'm trying to find a balance of like allowing things to meet me halfway, so I don't feel like I'm giving so much energy and I'm kind of like pacing my energy. That's kind of what the overarching theme was, kind of like figuring out how to pace my energy instead of like boom and then deplete it, and then raise up, and then boom and then deplete it, and then raise up. Like I want to like evenly pace it out so I feel consistently pretty balanced. So that was a big one. And then yeah, just co-creating, allowing other people and things to lead to, and not caring. It's just too easy for me to assert myself, and it's too easy for me to lead and do, that it's hard for me to be like, okay, it's okay for me to just stop and let something else take the wheel. It's not that I don't trust, it's just that I'm just so used to being the first person to raise my hand, to being like, oh, I'll do it, you know, like that's just too easy for me. So I'm trying to get used to not always doing that, and allowing other people to kind of give them a chance and give life the chance to be like, okay, let me do this, that sort of thing. That's a big one. I've been resting and sleeping a lot because I feel very depleted, and I just don't have, my energy fuel is down, so I'm like recharging again. And just overall existing, I'm trying to remind myself, I think for the past year and a half, a mantra I've been really trying to believe and incorporate into my life is that existing is just enough. Me just existing is enough. I don't have to overgive. I don't have to do so much. I don't always have to feel needed for my presence to feel valued. Me just being somewhere and just existing is perfectly fine. I think for other people, that's always been the case for me. Like, I never need anyone to do anything. I'm very much a person who's like, you know, I don't need you. I just want to be around you. So it's kind of learning to give myself that same treatment of like, I don't have to always give something or be needed, that my presence is enough, and other people and things should just value my existence and my presence just as it is. Like, I don't have to bring anything to the table all the time. And me just being here is perfectly fine. I don't have to always offer something. So that's another one that I've gotten a lot better at that one, but I have to become, I want to become more conscious of when I do feel the urge to be like, ooh, I could fill this space with something, or I could give something. Just kind of pausing and reminding myself to do that. So trying that out a little bit more. And what I've been thinking about recently is just kind of figuring out what a meaningful experience means to me, or what meaning and fulfillment means to me when I'm not constantly sort of trying to do something, when I'm not trying to like, okay, I'm bored, I got to do something, you know? Like, I feel like it's so easy for me to find meaning and novelty in like, okay, what's a new experience? What's something fun? What's like a distraction? Or what's like something interesting that I can do with my time to bring some more whimsy and meaning, which I love, and it's one of my greatest attributes. But I also want to figure out ways to find meaning when I'm not like searching for that, because I do struggle with like, okay, when I don't really have much going on, when I just want to rest, how can I find meaning in like just the everyday normal stuff, you know, not when I'm always just like looking to do something, or like the novelty of stuff. Like, what does a meaningful experience mean to me when I'm not trying to hold on to something, or I'm not trying to run away from being bored and just exist? What does that mean? Because I think a big theme in my life is I'm always searching for meaning, always searching for something that just feels like something. So kind of figuring that out. Because now when I do have this moment where I'm like just resting and sleeping and like recharging again, it's hard for me to feel excited or like motivated to do stuff or inspired. And I want to be able to find some sort of something to hold on to when I do feel this way, when I feel pretty flat and depleted, like something that will inspire me and bring a little bit more meaning even during these like very flat moments, which I think today I'm sitting with a lot, and it's been helping. So I'm figuring that out, kind of taking things slow in that way. Okay, so yeah, this is everything. And we're gonna do what ChatGPT said, and we're gonna take it one thing at a time. So I'm gonna first start with, what do we say here? It was a 5-step process of my science experiment that we're gonna start. I like to pretend I'm a scientist, and I like to. ChatGPT also told me that one of my greatest strengths, which was really affirming, is I'm really good at feeling my feelings and also watching my feelings and understanding my feelings all at the same time. So I can feel something, try to understand it, and also watch it happening at the same time. Like, I can experience time and presence while I'm watching it, and also analyzing it, which I think is pretty good. It is true, like I'm pretty good at doing that. Like, I feel like one of my greatest strengths is just like feeling energy, and I have this thing where I could just feel my energy, and I could feel the energy of a room, and also understand or unpack where I am in that energy while the energy is actively manifesting, and just how to move and dance with it, and just understand the nuances of other people's energies and the environment, and just flow with it and watch it and pause and be in it and out of it. And like, I can just like easily navigate energy in a room really, really well. I've learned how to do that just kind of naturally with myself, just sitting with myself and understanding my body. And with that, I also struggle with understanding, I guess, how other people perceive me. So I feel like I understand myself so well, and there's such a rich world inside me that I'm always experiencing. There's just so much happening inside of me that I'm always working on and working through, and like just happening, that I'm always kind of like, it doesn't really fully translate to other people. So then I was like wondering, like, do other people have a hard time understanding me, and how can I make myself more easily accessible, or like easier to understand for someone who might not be so used to the way I experience the world, because it's just so convoluted. And and then I asked that to ChatGPT, and ChatGPT was like, well, I feel like I'm very easy to understand for someone who's curious to understand how I understand the world, if that makes sense. So like, I'm pretty much an open book. I like to talk about stuff that I go through and experience, but I'm not one to just like randomly, openly just like talk about it, because a lot of what I feel and experience might be triggering for other people. So I feel like I'm very easy to understand for someone who's curious to inquire. And that's kind of what I settled on and what feels good for me right now. So I think that also made me feel really good, because I'm like, well, it's not that I'm hard to understand or hard to pinpoint or get a hold of. It's just I'm hard to pinpoint for people who just aren't interested or curious enough to engage with me. For people who are more curious to engage with me, I'm pretty easy to understand. So that felt really nice. But yeah, I thought that was so super cool, because it does feel like my superpower is energy, and I have so much energy in me just naturally, and I experience it so intensely. So I think learning how to pace my energy is going to be really cool to try to do, and yeah, and kind of seeing it that way, and yeah, so that was just like a really interesting point that came up today. So back to what we were talking about, and that is, let's see, what was this? Because it gave me a really good game plan. Okay, the observation, number one. So recently I noticed, okay, the observation, okay, what have I noticed recently? Okay, so recently I noticed that I am very proactive, that I like to do, and when I have a lot of energy, I need to express that energy somehow, whether it be through art, through me talking to people relationally, hanging out with others, or me just spending time alone recharging. I have to express my energy somehow because it all builds up, and then I'm like, whoa, how do I release it? The experiment is pacing my energy. So learning where to redirect it and where to put it, because I don't want it to build up so much that I don't know what to do with it. So with that, I noticed that. So then I noticed myself how easy it is for me to overgive and overextend myself, which I've noticed for a very long time. But now that I'm more grounded, more stable, more secure, I noticed that, and I was like, okay, let me notice the moments in which I feel like, ooh, I want to do something. Because it's funny because I do notice these moments, like I'll be like randomly doing something and then suddenly I get this urge of just energy, and I'm like, whoa, suddenly I just feel this urge to just talk to people, or like I feel this urge to just make a video, or I feel this urge to just dance or just do something because suddenly this like burst of energy came on me. And then most times I don't really think about it, and I'll just find something to do and I'll do it. So I'll make some videos, I'll do a drawing, I'll reach out to like 3 people, like, hey, do you want to hang out? Or like I'll do something. So I'm challenging myself this week, literally these past few days, where when I feel this burst of energy, finding something, like holding on to it as long as I can, so that I'm not like immediately expelling it or giving it out or like handing it to somewhere. Like I'm making sure that I'm conscious of it and I'm holding the energy for a little bit to see like how it settles, if that makes sense. So like I'm holding the fire. I think a fire is a nice analogy. So usually I'll feel this spark and it's like an ember, and then it's like growing a little bit, and then I'm like, whoa, whoa. And usually when I feel this like fire, I'm like, whoa, I have to put it somewhere because it's like it's getting hot, and I'm like, whoa, it's exciting. So I'm learning to like, okay, I feel the spark, and I'm like, ooh, it's getting warm, this is exciting. And instead of me like putting it somewhere, I'm like, okay, wait, let me hold on to it and see what happens with the fire. Like what color is it going to be? How big is it going to get? How is it going to feel in my hands? And I'm learning to just hold it and sit on it. And it's becoming kind of like a cool challenge for me. So like as an example, like if I get this urge to like text someone, instead of me being like, ooh, let me do it, I feel this urge, I feel good about it, let me text someone, I'm like, actually, let me hold that thought and let me sit, because I don't want to always be the person to initiate a conversation. I don't always want to be the person to initiate like an experience or a hangout. So let me hold on to this energy, this urge, and see what happens if I just wait. So then I've been doing this like mental challenge with myself where I'm like, okay, like let me see how long I can go holding this energy. How long can I go not initiating? How long can I go not being proactive or not being the one who's always doing the first thing? How long can I stay in this energy and not do anything with it? And kind of thinking of it that way, and it feels really good because it's really easy for me to instead think of it as like, well, I'm not, like if I don't do something, then it means that like I'm not creating an experience, or I'm not like taking initiative, like I'm letting something like slip, like I'm supposed to do something if I feel the urge to do something. And I think a lot of it is like reframing it as like, well, no, like I can step back, not because I'm like playing a game or trying to be like confusing or something. Like I'm doing it because I'm allowing life to meet me halfway, so that I'm not always the one doing something. I'm not always the one seeking to hold on to control, because I don't want to control everything. I very much go with the flow. Like I enjoy when I don't control stuff. I enjoy when life surprises me. So I think I want to get into the habit of feeling good and natural with allowing that to happen and kind of breaking that habit or that first default instinct of like, okay, like if it's easy for me to do it, let me just do it. I want to be more like, okay, even though it's easy for me to fall into that, let me just take a moment and just not do that. Let me just allow change to occur so then I could get used to not always doing the thing I'm always used to. I'm trying to find a good analogy for that. It's kind of like if I always, it's a good analogy for that. Like, it's not bad. Like, it's not bad to, like, some things that's easy for someone to do, it doesn't have to be bad, like it could be good, but it's not always good to do it. Like, sometimes people want to have another chance, like their own chance to do it. It's kind of like if two people have their license, I guess this is the first analogy that comes up for me. If I have my license and someone else has their license, and it's just easy for me to like be like, okay, I'll drive, because I'm just like, I have my license and I'm like, okay, it's just easy for me to say like, I'll drive. But if I'm always the one driving a car, always the first to be like, okay, I'll just drive, I'm never giving the other person a chance to practice their driving or, like them drive themselves. And like driving is just a great skill to have. So it's like, I'm kind of taking away the opportunity for someone else to get better at driving and for someone else to like practice that skill. Like if I'm always the one driving and I'm already a really great driver, then like, it's almost not fair for me to always offer and me to always take initiative and be the one driving. Like, I want to allow someone else the chance and the ability for them to strengthen their driving skills so then they could sort of build that skill for themselves and they feel independent and they just know how to drive because I'm like limiting that person and their lesson. I think that's actually a pretty good analogy because then if I'm always the one driving and I'm not giving someone else a chance to drive, they're going to go on and have a hard time building that skill, which maybe they do want to build, and because they're not comfortable or secure enough to build it, or maybe they're too scared, or like they don't have that confidence to like be the one, be like, well, no, I kind of want to drive, because that's something that I want to learn. So not everyone is comfortable doing that, and you can't really blame them. So as someone who's very good at driving, I'm actually ironically terrible at driving. But in this metaphor, if I'm really good at driving, it's sort of like up to me to give someone a space to take the lead in that way. And that's what I'm trying to learn. I'm so good at something, all because I'm really good at it doesn't mean I always have to do it. Like, I want to be able to let other people build that for themselves and give them the space to also be really good at it. So I'm like trying to look at things that way and reframe my mindset that way, and I feel like that's helping me learn how to let go of a wheel and just let go of control and not be so like on top and wanting to do and take control and take the lead and just do everything myself. That's kind of helping me do that. The idea of like I'm by me stepping back, I'm helping other people feel safe and comfortable step forward. So that's what I'm trying, and I'm actively practicing that this week. And like that also comes where with that I'm kind of like, well, this is my intention and why I'm doing what I'm doing, but it's weird because like no one knows that. So like, when I am doing this, like if I am the person being like, okay, I'm not going to drive because I'm going to let this person drive because it'll be helpful for them. I mean, I know that for me, but then in my head I'm also kind of like, well, objectively, what does that person see, Because then I'm worried, like, even though my intention is like good because I want to allow someone the space to grow their own skills, like will the other person perceive me doing that as like me not caring or me not wanting to drive because I don't want to, or like would they interpret that negatively? And I guess you could say like if I communicate it, then it won't be weird. But in certain situations, like you're not going to communicate that. Like if I'm not going to be the one texting someone first all the time because I want to give that person space to, learn to take initiative and just like, just not be the one pressuring someone, because I know I don't like when someone's always like on me. Like I'm always like, give me the space to miss you. Give me the space to want to reach out. So like I also don't want it to come across as like, well, I don't care, or like I don't actually want to see you, or like I don't want to hang out. But then it's like you don't want to communicate that because it'd be kind of weird to be like, hey, I'm just so you know, I'm not going to text you for a week because not because I don't want to, but because I'm giving you space to, do what you want to do because I don't want to be the one controlling the situation. Like, that's kind of weird to say. So I'm also kind of balancing like the whole thing about perception and how my world is being perceived or my actions are being perceived. And all of this is kind of what I mean when I say that I'm very good at feeling my feelings and experiencing them and also understanding what it looks like on the outside. So this is actively what me doing that looks like. So yeah, it's kind of a lot and it's crazy, but that gives you an insight of how crazy my head is. So I'm kind of balancing that out and also knowing that, you know what, not everyone's feelings is my problem. And sometimes I can do things and know that if I do something with good intention, someone's going to feel it and I'm not responsible for how someone takes something. And that's okay too sometimes. So a lot of things tie into this, but that's kind of the overarching experiment and the observation. And I guess we'll find out soon enough where that leads. And usually, honestly, when I do something like this and I hold myself from taking initiative, people do surprise me. And sometimes, you do find out more about people when you don't reach out. So, yeah. And also on the other side of it, like, if someone's always the person to reach out to me, I also like to be given space. Like, sometimes it feels nice when someone who usually always takes initiative and reaches out to me kind of stops doing that and, like, lets it breathe for a long time, because then I feel like then I have the space to just breathe and not feel pressured, and then I could be the one to step forward and be like, oh, hey, what's up? Or, like, it gives me that energy. That's how I usually take it. So I would hope other people take it in a positive light the same way as I do. But who knows? Maybe I'm just being a little avoidant. I don't know. Who knows? No one's perfect. And I guess we're going to end that off with that note. No one's perfect. I'm trying my best. And this is actively my experiment that's happening right now. I know I said a whole lot of something, and I hope all of this makes sense. But I think my overarching point is I want to frame these videos as more of like an experiment visual journal type of thing, where I'm like talking about things I notice about myself, feelings, and like what sort of pattern I want to shift and change, and things I want to try differently, and how I'm trying and implementing it differently now, and then sort of what I'm learning, doing it, and how I'm viewing it, my experience with it, and yeah, report my findings here with you guys, because it does sort of feel like my life sometimes does feel like an experiment, and I like to do little experiments to just try new things and see what happens. So yeah, we're gonna keep trying this whole energy pacing thing, not taking initiative all the time, and yeah. So I hope that was interesting. I hope that was somewhat fun to listen to, and I bid you farewell, and I hope you have a great day, and I hope you have a great weekend, and I hope you find something inspiring and interesting to try and do, and drink lots of water. Thanks for coming.